letting me click it.
Welcome, everyone to Never Alone Live. I'm Johnny, of course, joined by Krista, the sober Barbie. And today we have a very special guest, Ryan from Rock Bottom with Ryan. He's another recovery podcaster. So this is awesome. So we've got this live podcast here that we do, and you're a podcaster. So we're kind of interweaving our worlds, and let's what got you started on your podcast, dude?
Well, I was about 6 months sober at the time. I'm 21 months sober now, as of a couple days ago. But I was I was on a long road trip and was listening to another podcast that was talking about trauma and people that had gone through abuse and things like that. And this podcaster was having people tell their story about how they overcame those things and that their lives became a lot more positive afterwards, channeling something very negative and dark that could have crippled them into something positive. And I started to think to myself, I kind of want to do this when it comes to recovery. And I started doing a little research, and I noticed there were a lot of recovery podcasts out there here and there, but I just thought maybe have something that really focuses on really focusing on the rock bottom and how you came out of that, how you built a foundation on that rock bottom and built from that, and kind of make that the context of the show. And I started off just wanting to kind of maybe share my story and interview a few friends in the area, and it kind of progressed from there and started not only being about recovery, but also talking a lot about different mental health topics like depression, anxiety, overcoming trauma, whether it be sexual trauma, abuse from a significant other, things like that. So it started to kind of branch out and started to build on that. But we do talk a lot about recovery from all different addictions, even food addiction. So there's a lot of different channels we like to cover on the podcast, but it's grown. I've done 1 year mark will be July 15th, and I've done 169 episodes. I put out 3 a week now, and really committed to it, and really committed to making every guest has an individual story, and it's always significant, and I always gain something and learn something from it. And I feel like listeners out there, like a lot of us like to say, is that if one person is affected or impacted or positively changed by it, or by one episode, I feel like we're making a difference. So I love doing it, though. And I was in the grocery store when I came up with the name Rock Bottom with Ryan. I don't know, I just thought it had a ring to it, so I went with it.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. I mean, at 6 months sober, I could barely tie my own shoes, and you were thinking about helping others already, so that's tremendous. So what do you, and see, we're gonna get to your story, but I wanna kind of focus on this for a few minutes. Who's been your, and I don't want to say favorite, because that's crazy, but you've done so many podcasts. Who's been your favorite guest? Who have you gotten the most out of?
Well, you better say me.
I feel inclined to say Krista right away.
Oh, anybody? You can't say Krista.
No. All right, if I have to,
you've had a lot of really good people.
Yeah, I've had a lot of great guests. I mean, a lot of people would think like having guests, there's different guests with different followings, and I've been trying to get different people on the show. I think trying to get some people like Mike the Situation and stuff like that on the show, and all these goals. But like, I feel like every guest has, I know it sounds cliche, every guest has made a difference and shared something different. But if there's one that stands out, I'd say I was surprised when I had Kevin Lanning on the show. I was surprised to hear a lot of what he had to say. He has a great podcast, and I really look up to him. So his story was really fascinating to me, just knowing where he's at now and then seeing where he was not long ago. So that story really shocked me quite a bit. But there was a story, I think, keep it an I don't know if I was supposed to keep it anonymous, but story, I think it was like episode 33 or 34. A girl had a really, really intense actually, Kenneth was recently on the show. He might be watching right now. Kenneth, he and I could relate so much on the trauma we went through at the same age. That one really struck me quite a bit, and I've had him on twice now. I think in the episode 30 something, and then on a recent episode, if anybody wants to check it out, he went through a lot of the same traumas and abuse and alienation that I had gone through as a kid, and he and I just really hit it off really well. So that one always stuck with me because he's a little bit older than me, and he's just thriving and has this positive attitude towards everything, and he has less sober time than me and is like thriving more than I was after a year of sobriety. And it's just inspiring to me when I heard his story. It really just like stands out to me in a lot of ways because it was like looking at myself years from now and how I want to be and how I want to be, because I still struggle a little bit in recovery, as we all know. It's 21 months, it's not 21 years. So I still have a lot of raw emotion, a lot of raw things still standing out in my brain that I haven't completely fixed or worked on yet or processed. In 21 months, I'm just taking it piece by piece, day by day. And that story always kind of stands out to me. But every story has made a difference, and it's been unique. So
They really do, man. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing this for a little over a year as well. And we only do one a week, but we've done 60 plus. And, each person we interview brings something else to the table. We had faith-based recovery month last month. So it was all Christians and Christians with huge followings and recovery stories, and it was just so wild. And we had a month all about Matt, and people sharing their experience, strength, and hope about medically assisted treatment. And it's wild. You never know what you're gonna get into when especially the way we do this here with live, because we're live right now. You don't know what's gonna be said and what's gonna be done. And Krista, who's your favorite interview we've done? I know who mine is. And we're not supposed to have favorites, but I have one that was a favorite. Oh, Erica Davenport. Oh my goodness, we interviewed her. She's in the comments right now.
Oh, this is a hard question.
Erica was one of our very first interviews. But my favorite, and I'll say it, was Judy. Judy was from but she partied at Studio 54 back in the 80s and was telling us stories about that. And oh my goodness, dude, and that was live, and you don't know what people are going to say. And it was so awesome,
Okay,
I've heard
my
some
favorite
stories about
interview,
Studio 54.
I think that it's a really cool experience when you get to interview your best friend. So I'm going to say Brandy Harris.
That's pretty cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun. You have your good friend on here, and it's you get to experience this with your buddies. But I can relate a lot with how you said who your favorite person you've interviewed is, someone that you kind of strive to be. And
Yeah.
I got to experience that this weekend. I got to fly to Kentucky and speak at a recovery revival. And there's a woman, April, and she spoke, and I kept telling her, I want to be you when I grow up. And we're the same age. But I like just the way she spoke, and just
Yeah.
I can relate a lot to it. And
I think
that's cool.
when people exude positivity and they've been sober so many years, it just gives you so much hope that you're going to continue to be happy and continue to be positive, and that there's no this, the pink cloud effect that people talk about. Maybe it doesn't end sometimes, because I feel great now, and I think I'll feel great next year too. So
I don't think it ends, and my favorite color is pink. I think I've been on a pink cloud for a decade. So
I can't tell that's your favorite color. Wow. I'll behind you.
We've got some new people in here in the comments right now, and I'm going to do some quick shout outs to Alexa, who is new, 20 days sober. Alexa, keep going. We're so proud of you. Amy, first time here, always looking for sober encouragement, even at 2 years sober. Thanks for what you do. Well, thank you for what you do, Amy. And then Laney Southwick. I've been in recovery for 7 years and fell pretty hard 3 days ago. I'm not doing so hot. Laney, we're so glad you're here. My favorite recovery song is Starting Over by Macklemore. And he says that if I can be an example of getting sober, then I can be an example of starting over. So Laney, you stay strong, because the story that you had for 7 years, that's nothing compared to the story that you're going to have over the next few days. And I am so proud of you that you are here. We've got a bunch of friends from the Tiki Taki, and today we are going to be giving out. So Ryan interviewed our friend Mike from soberhats.com, and Mike was so excited that you're going to be on here today. He
Awesome
said
guy.
that we can give 2 free hats away today. So today in this live broadcast, we're going to be giving away 2 free hats. So everybody in the comments, stick around and invite your friends who are looking for sober hats, because we're going to be giving away 2 free ones. I don't know how yet. We're going to have a fun contest, but we're going to figure it out. Hazel, welcome in, Hazel. And Tiffany. Tiffany was here our very first broadcast and was here forever. And she's back. She's our favorite Canadian. So Ryan, thank you for telling us about your podcast. I really wanted to start with that. But let's talk about you. What was your rock bottom?
My rock bottom, I kept digging. And I had I think rock bottom has a trap door. And I mean, I pretty much wanted to stop drinking, knew I had a problem when I was about 22 is when I started to really notice that it was taking over my life. So I spent a lot of time trying to quit or moderate it after that. But of course, at that age, it's pretty easy to lie to yourself and say, I'm not an alcoholic, I just party too hard or whatever. But going into my 30s, when it gets to the point where I'm starting to wake up with those withdrawal symptoms and starting to drink every morning and starting to do it just to function as opposed to having fun anymore, that's where I was really trying to quit. And then I went through a rough divorce and kind of got it under control, but then ended up going back to partying and quit my day job and wanted to teach myself how to trade stocks full time. And, that results kind of like everybody during COVID was stuck at home and working remotely. A lot of people turned into alcoholics. Kind of the same thing I did to myself, where I stayed home and I just started drinking and drinking and drinking up to 25 to 30 glasses of wine a day, because I thought going from whiskey to wine was a healthy transition. It was actually worse for me because I could handle a lot more wine than whiskey. So I drank that. And then one day I tried to, in the middle of the night, I told myself, I'm going to go on a run and quit drinking because I have had enough of this for the last time. Because I was just got out of the hospital after suffering like a seizure related alcohol. I was sending these suicidal ideation text out to people, and somebody made a wellness call and said, go check on my friend. And I ended up in the hospital for a week. I got out and continued drinking after that. Took the benzos that they give you. I took them all at once or all over the course of like a day instead of spreading it out over 7 days because I couldn't handle the withdrawals. Started drinking again. And then one night I decided, okay, I really have to quit now. And I went on this jog in the middle of the night, and which sounds kind of embarrassing when I tell the story, but went on a jog thinking, hey, what better way to start your sobriety than go on a run, right? And went on a run, ended up, I think my higher power or something nudged me because I fell down some really steep concrete stairs and busted my whole face up and body up and cracked ribs. My eye was hanging out of its socket. I'm still a little blind in my right eye, and lost my front teeth, cracked my lip open, all these injuries. And spent a week in the hospital. I was airlifted to a bigger hospital because the hospital in the town I was in was too small, and spent a week in the hospital and told myself, I'm going to start going to meetings. And I went to meetings for the second time ever. The first time I'd gone to a meeting was about 8 years prior, only to appease my now ex-wife. And I went to the meeting intoxicated, but I just didn't want to lie about going to a meeting, so I'd gone. So this time around, started going to meetings, went for 90 days, actually started to see the light. But at 90 days, I told myself I got this figured out, obviously, because I went 90 days sober, which is 3 times my record before that since I turned 19. So I just told myself I don't need the meetings anymore. And 2 weeks later, I picked up again and drank nonstop for 2 months until one day I woke up and was taking a shower, had a seizure in the shower, and freaked out, obviously, and woke up kind of disoriented, and had somebody take me to the hospital, and went into the hospital. And this lady who knew me since childhood, who worked at the hospital, she was also a nun that read the death rites to people before they passed away. She recognized my name on the computer at the hospital, and recognized me after 30 years, since she knew me in like the 3rd grade or something. And she came and prayed for me every day. And I'm not the most spiritual person naturally, but something just clicked in me that day. And I'm like, all right, I've done this enough. I've tried to quit 30, 40 times. I tried to quit. I did it for 90 days recently. I know I can do it. So I was like, maybe I do need to go to this thing they call rehab. So I decided, all right, I got on my phone and talked to a couple of family members, and we worked on getting me into treatment. And I went in willingly, but apprehensively, if you know what I mean, where it's like, I'm going because I know it's what I have to do, but I don't want to be there. I don't want to go without my phone. I don't want to go without friends and what I'm used to, but having my freedom obviously wasn't working. So went in there, and then I would say it took about 10 days to really embrace it, but something about that 10th day just hit me differently, and I started to process some of the pain I was in. I lost my little sister to a fentanyl overdose a few years ago, and I think I was just pushing that off to the side because she and I were extremely close, and she was only 27 when she passed, and I was having trouble really acknowledging that. I never cried about it. I never let my emotions out. I just kept pushing forward and pretending, everything was fine. And I think in that 10 days, I was able to write a goodbye letter to her, and something clicked where I'm like, okay, I've had enough rock bottoms. I want this sobriety. And then after day 10, I just took rehab so seriously that new people coming into rehab thought I worked there. That's how embraced I was in it. They're like, oh yeah, we thought you worked here the whole time. I'm like, no, I am one of the people, I'm one of the patients here. Yeah. And so as you can tell, just a lot of different variations of rock bottom. I mean, there's times where I lost everything. I gambled away a ton of money. That was part of the problem for a while. I did all the things, lost relationships, severed relationships, but the real rock bottom was just the combination of seeing that light for 90 days and then throwing it all away just like that, thinking I knew everything. It was a huge shot to my ego, or whatever you want to call it. It was a very humbling experience knowing that I really needed the help, but I surrendered. So in order to get out of rock bottom, I had to surrender. So
that's amazing, dude. Admitting powerlessness, that's the key, and I'm grateful that you hit that rock bottom. It's funny because most people, they can't say, oh, I'm so grateful you're doing shitty. I'm grateful that you found that rock bottom so that you eventually found where you're at today. Let's give away a hat. I got an idea. So,
oh gosh, she's got an idea.
I know. So in the comments is Jolene. Everybody can see Jolene's name in the comments. If you scroll around, you'll see Jolene's name. The third person to send Jolene a message that says Ryan is better looking than Johnny. The third person that sends a message to Jolene that says Ryan is better looking than Johnny will get a free hat. And Jolene will be able to tell us immediately who the third person is that says that Ryan is better looking than Johnny.
You have to send her a message. Follow directions. That's
I don't know if I
recovery.
styled my hair well
Follow
enough.
the directions.
she did not know about this game. These fun games that I come up with.
Put her to work.
They generally come up on the fly, and that's the best thing about this is that we're live, and you never know what's going to happen. So the third.
And while they're doing that, can I comment on what Ryan just shared?
Of course, please do.
So I'm so incredibly sorry about your sister. That's absolutely heartbreaking, and I can relate a lot with that grief that you couldn't even cry. Like, oh, it's gonna make me cry right now because now I'm a crybaby. But I lost my fiance 9 years ago, and it was early in recovery, and I just barely hung on, and I couldn't cry. I didn't want to face it. I think I white knuckled it for a little bit. I did. I was sober, but and I had worked my steps, but I just didn't want to lose that, and I hung on so hard. And then when I was in recovery too, in treatment, they thought I worked there too because I loved it so much. I loved it so much.
Yep.
And we went to Founders Day a few weeks ago in Akron, the 91st birthday of AA. And everywhere we went, they thought Johnny worked everywhere we went.
Yes, I mean, with some of us, and it's usually the last people you'd expect to embrace it so much, and it's like once that clicks in your head, you're like, you start to see your own potential, you get comfortable in your own skin, and it's everything we needed the whole time.
Yeah, but grief's a huge part of people staying in addiction or not even moving on. It pauses life, even though life's going on around you. You kind of stay stuck for a little bit, but in their honor, in their legacy, we got to keep moving forward,
What's interesting about it is I kept moving forward, and I had this, what I called controlled drinking, which would still turned out to be 6 to 8 drinks a day, but I counted those 6 to 8 drinks and stopped there. But that's still an alcoholic by definition, for a lot of people, everybody pretty much. And that was my controlled way drinking, and I kept just pushing, working nonstop and working out nonstop. So I had certain things together on the outside, but on the inside, I was still struggling. So.
And then you're like a prison of those numbers of counting them drinks.
Yeah. You're like, I only get.
I know people that carry breathalyzers around.
I had 2 of those. Yeah, I have 2 of them.
To make sure you weren't going over. Oh, I can maybe fit one more drink in without going over that number.
Yeah, exactly. I was like that too. So OCD and all that stuff was just at a high, and yeah.
We got a winner.
We have the winner for the first hat, the third person to send Jolene a message, and the winner of a sober period hat. And you can have it say sober period, say clean period. It can be an ally hat. He's got all sorts of different hats. But the winner is Rich Vasquez. Rich Vasquez, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and congratulations on winning your hat. I hope you rock it proud. We are very proud about our recovery around here, and sober hats is I rock this all the time because I recover out loud, and we recover out loud because people are dying inside, and we can you never know who is going to be, what voice you're going to hear that can change your life. And Ryan, my brother here from Rock Bottom with Ryan podcast, which everybody should be going and listening to, you're helping people all the time, and we're in the same boat, right? This is Krista and I come and we do this, and we do the TikTok every morning, and it's like people ask me, why do you do this day in and day out? We get to see people's lives change in real time, man. It's so awesome. It's so profound.
The transformations are so fun to watch. Yeah.
and getting to see these in real time is so amazing. So all right, back to questions. Rich, you won our first hat, and we'll be giving away another hat here shortly. Krista's gonna come up with a fun game for it, and look at you love when she gets that surprise face. You never know what's gonna happen. All right, so Ryan, you got coming up on 21 months. What has been the hardest thing about the recovery in the past 21 months?
Past 21 months, I guess it's dealing with conflict, I think, has been a little different. That's the only time I've been overwhelmed, is when I've received, like, doing the podcast is fun. It's a good way for me to process my thoughts and emotions and get my version of recovery out there and hear other stories and stuff. But on the outside of the podcast, there's a lot of relationships that were severed during my addiction and stuff. Like relationship with my father has always been kind of up and down throughout my life, and it's been hard to kind of set proper boundaries to maintain that relationship, but also keep certain things at a distance and keep that healthy. So that's been tough. And even if he's watching right now, he would understand, because he's been a part of it too, and he knows what it's like. But it's been hard to just set those proper boundaries with people that you obviously take very seriously, like a parent, and you don't want to hurt them, and you want to do all the right things in recovery, but you still have those character defects that come out every now and again, and it's hard to hide it and hard to mask those now, because we're sober. We're inclined to be more authentic, and sometimes that attitude still comes out, or that defensiveness still comes out, and that's been something I've had to kind of regulate lately. And even I was recently kind of just a friend kind of and I had kind of a feud, and it was kind of hard to get over that. And so just dealing with conflict, I think, is different when you can't just pick up a bottle and numb it and forget about it. And you actually have to go about things in the healthiest way possible. You actually have to process them, communicate. You can't just, and I'm an introvert at heart, which is weird coming from a podcaster probably. But at heart, I do like to isolate. I do like to just keep my thoughts to myself. And it's hard sometimes to be able to communicate how you feel and do your thing, and not run and stuff my face in the sand like an ostrich and just hide. But that's been the tough one, is just, dealing with conflict, communication, and all that has been that's been the only times where I've had anxiety in recovery have been when the conflicting situations come up. But like most other things, like daily things that happen, I can brush them off pretty well. If somebody's in a bad mood or criticizes me or something, I usually can brush it off. But there's been a few situations where it's like made my heart thud out of my chest and been like, oh my gosh, right now is like one of those moments where I gotta fight or flight. So that's usually the issue though.
Well, I mean, it's hard, the getting sober and staying sober. It's hard. We actually had a big discussion about that, recently. What's harder, getting sober or staying sober? And getting sober, anybody can put the plug in the jug, but then life happens. And, how are you going to manage life when it happens? And we talked about this recently, that, it's a progressive disease. Life continuously went down, 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 and until we hit rock bottom. And then the progression, you don't start out on top. Oh, look, I knocked my head off. You don't start out on top. We progressively go up, and that's through our program, through communication, through the steps, through learning about ourselves. We got to relearn ourselves, and that's a critical part. Most people they slip because they don't want to do that self-assessment. They don't want to look under the hood. Nobody really does. And when we do this, right, we do this, these podcasts, these live streams, all the stuff we're doing, it's all like looking under the hood, publicly, if you will. And it's amazing. The vulnerability that we see, right? It's out of this world. I think that's one of my favorite parts is seeing people's vulnerability, and, seeing people's humility and live, and then people see that, and it's contagious. It's like, okay, this guy is being honest with, all of Facebook and YouTube and the TikTok and whatever. Maybe I can be honest about what's really going on with me. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what does the future look like for Ryan and Rock Bottom with Ryan? Tell me about you got a teammate and you've got all sorts of different stuff going.
Yeah, I've got the podcast. I'm just gonna continue doing it 3 episodes a week, just putting out content as much as I can on social media and all that, and giving my perspective on recovery. And sometimes I go daily updates on what I'm going through or what the word of the day in my head is. Like the other day, it was consistency. That's huge in recovery, is consistency. Yesterday, I think I did reacting to things on impulse, which I think is a big thing in recovery. Is we can't have those impulse reactions that we used to have when we were drinking, because we used to be snappy or defensive, and now we can actually have the power to like pause and do things. So each day my goal is to just improve a little each day. Like I don't have some end goal for the podcast. I don't need it to be world famous Barstool Sports or Joe Rogan or anything like that. That's not the goal. The goal is like just to continue being consistent with it and getting new stories on, innovating, and just kind of allowing the podcast to be a platform for anybody to come on. Like even if anybody thinks they had, a life that didn't include trauma and didn't include a huge rock bottom that they had to crawl out of, like every story still matters. Everybody went through their own battles. Like I had somebody on recently who just had parents who were narcissists. I found that really fascinating. Just not being a narcissist yourself, not being married to a narcissist, but growing up with narcissism and like stuff like that. So I just want the podcast to continue being a platform for that. And also going into other kind of lines of business, wanting, recovery related companies, obviously be a part of the show, kind of have little partnerships with them is a big deal to me. That way we can help, people recognize other rehab centers, sober houses, brands, all that kind of stuff. So just kind of working together. I've made a lot of great friendships in this community so far. I never even used social media before this podcast. Never had anything to do with it, and now I'm all about it. So I'm kind of a hypocrite for a guy who used to talk bad about social media and say it was a waste of time, but now I love it. I love the people I've met through it. I mean, I've met you guys just a few times now, and I feel like I could reach out to you any time of day, and just for support or just to plan out another podcast or whatever. So I just my goal is just to keep staying sober, but not just sober and white knuckling it. Like Krista said, I just want to like keep growing, keep improving the person I am, make sure that tomorrow, whatever I can improve on, I leave that in the past, but build on it, and just not look in the rearview mirror too much. So my goals are pretty broad. I want to keep growing as a person though, and in my career, but this podcast I think is a big part of that career. So, and life. So
I am trying to get him to come on TikTok live in the morning.
Yeah,
we're gonna make that happen.
I do want to.
You have to know.
Yeah. Do you want me to join the live or watch the live or just
come in it, join it? We open the boxes. We get tons of people. We're playing a fun game every morning right now, and you'll meet a lot of people. But I love how you said some people like don't think their story is worthy or good enough. And I remember being in rehab. I came from a very like good family. I didn't have trauma. I did have a rock bottom, but I didn't have like some of the trauma that I was hearing in the rooms. And I'm like, what am I ever going to be able to share, And, but as you dig deeper in long-term recovery, you find out there's a lot more to share. And, I love that you see that in people, that there is something to share, and everyone's story is worth something.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really like what you said about your network and how, we can reach out to one another now after this. And I mean, our network has just ballooned since doing all this stuff. We had the Sober Girls group chat, which was a very interesting podcast because it was me and was it 10 women, and it was a little off-putting, but it was so good. And these women have become a part of everything we do with the other podcast, Never Alone Never Again, that we're doing. And they're on here all the time, and we put out all sorts of different content that they add to. And now that you've been interviewed on here, you're going to be in that content as well.
Well, that's how I connected with Ryan. His
Yep.
partner in the podcast, Rachel, saw us with them and reached out to me, got me on their podcast, and
Yep. It's a network. Everybody's connected somehow in some way. I love it.
and you really never know who is going to save your life. You never know.
Yeah.
We did an interview yesterday with and I probably shouldn't talk about it, but it's for our other podcast, Never Alone Never Again, and it's we did with Ben Lerner. And we actually and I shouldn't talk about this, but I'm so excited because we played one of his songs, and it's my favorite song. And actually he talked about the song, and it was so awesome. And it's to actually hear what an artist thinks about the music that they've created. I mean, we have our ideas and thoughts because we get to listen to it, and it's beautiful and it speaks to us. But to hear what the artist was thinking and when it happened, I mean, these are the blessings that I get today. And it's so awesome. This podcast stuff is so fun, and we get to have fun with it, and we get to give away free hats, and I love giving away free hats.
Yeah, and as you guys know, like, podcasting's a lot behind the scenes too. Finding the right guests and the editing that's involved and posting it to all these.
and you
different
do
platforms.
3 a week.
Yeah, I became a workhorse for some reason, but I just love it, and I want different stories out all the time. And I wasn't going to do that at first. I was just going to do like one a week, but I got so excited to hear different stories that I was like, I started compiling too many stories. I'm like, this will take I already have a year's worth if I do it a week at a time. So I'm like, I want to just put out one per week. And I think every episode is a quality episode. That's my opinion. Even if it gets 5 views or 5,000, I feel like it's all quality stuff just because it's somebody's authentic story. Somebody's being vulnerable to me, a complete stranger, and talking about it on my podcast. I feel like it's special. So.
It really is, but it's a lot, especially when you're talking about trauma. And I guess I can say I'm an empath, but when I hear this trauma stuff, and if I hear someone's been bad to women, I get angry, and all of a sudden I'm bringing it in, and it's hard to not make it personal and to just be there and not get that's I think the hardest part of this job.
Exactly. It does get that way. I mean, I've caught myself checking on past guests, fairly often. It's just, I'm kind of an empathetic person anyways. So I catch myself being like, are you doing okay? I know you're only this sober. I saw your post on social media, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm a stranger. I should probably just back off, but at the same time, maybe it's good to have that support. So.
And it absolutely is. And Krista's a big empath. She connects one-on-one with a lot of the people in our group and our network. She's basically the network we have on TikTok is it's everybody. It's just the Sober Barbies network, and she is a huge voice in that community. And once you get that voice, it's something that you have to take seriously.
Yeah. Exactly.
I need an assistant at this point.
Me too. Me too.
So I think it's time to give out another hat. Krista, what do you got in mind?
I got an idea.
Oh,
Okay.
look at
You're gonna have to go to Rock Bottom Ryan's Instagram. You guys got to find him, and you have to follow him too. I'm gonna confirm. But it's in his bio. He has apparel, shirts and stuff. What is the name of his apparel company? Put it in the comments. First one.
The first person that can tell us the name of Ryan's apparel company gets a free sober hat. We'll be watching the comments.
You have to follow him too.
I appreciate you all for following and for watching this too. So it's a lot.
You know, I'm telling you that the network that's grown in the recovery community as a whole, you know, has been so crazy, you know. And do we have an answer yet? No, we keep putting more comments in there. So what is I can speak.
Carly got it. Carly got it.
Carly, congratulations on
Sober Strong
Apparel.
Sober Strong Apparel. Shout out to Chris. I was just talking to him earlier. He's a great guy. He's the one who started the company officially. So it's highly recommend the brand as well. If you do go order anything, use code Rock Bottom, all capital letters. So you get 15% off.
Yes.
Nice. So, okay, what is the biggest gift that you've gotten since doing all this podcast and Recover Out Loud and all this stuff? And the reason I have an answer in mind, so I could ask the question.
Biggest gift, like as just gift, like reward in general. I would say in sobriety and recovery as a whole, a couple of the friendships I've made have been life-changing. Like I was telling you guys before we started recording that I have a friend who's 90 years old who I pick up every single day for our AA meeting, and we ride there together. We talk about the day. We just he's got nothing but wisdom, and that relationship means the world to me. He's like a grandfather to me, and he treats me kind of like his grandson sort of, and it's just cool to have that relationship with somebody who's more than twice my age. And that's a huge reward in just recovery in general, because I don't even think, during my drinking days, I was always got along with everybody and had a different array of friends, but I just think my heart is in such a good place now, and it's open to everybody. And he and I created such a good bond that it's meant a lot to me. And he did an episode with me, I think episode 2, one of my first episodes I ever did. His name's Mike, and he's from Minnesota, just the nicest man ever. So that's been a big reward in just my recovery and the other people I've met through the meetings and through here. As far as podcasting goes, definitely the biggest reward is me opening up. I'm a very private person, a very rock solid person, hard shell to break, and hearing other people's stories as time went on, hearing their stories got me to open up. I never thought I would open up about sexual trauma I experienced when I was younger and stuff. I was never I was taking that to the grave, and somebody came on, opened up about theirs. I'm like, they're doing this on my show. There's not fair that for me, or not okay for me to not be willing to open up. And it just, a lot of these rewards came from just other people giving me the strength to talk about the really tough things that I just still hadn't processed yet. And it's helped me process those things. And if we're talking about, just rewards beyond that, just the connections, the friendships, the giving me something positive to do with my day every single day. Like even when I'm editing an episode for 3 hours, I'm not drinking. So that's a pretty cool thing. And I'm enjoying doing it. It never feels like work. I'm always kind of like, how can I edit this? How can I change this? What can I throw into my intro this time? And what quote did I like from the episode? Because everybody says such powerful things. I could have a whole book of quotes right now just from people naturally talking, because everybody in recovery says powerful things naturally. I don't know how that's possible, but they do. So just all those rewards. But Also, just getting connected with Chris from Sober Strong, built a good relationship there, and I love what that brand represents. Meeting Mike from Sober Hats, and just everybody. There's so many great people. I mean, I don't know if that's a reward within itself. So, and being able to do this today, like my birthday's tomorrow, I'm turning 39, and the fact that this is the day before, I was just like pumped to do this, like
Yay!
do my first real live show with you guys. I mean, there's just so many rewards, and I didn't have much confidence back in the day. I had false confidence when I was drinking. I threw on that mask and I would be like, yeah, I'm a people person. But in reality, I was a really insecure person, and I couldn't see myself ever just jumping on a live episode and not knowing who's watching. So just the being comfortable in my own skin is a huge reward as well.
Dude, that's so awesome. And, and you're 100% right. The thing, being on here, it forces us to open up. If somebody else is going to open up, it's like we owe them to open up ourselves. So that's brilliant. Krista, what about you? What's the biggest reward of doing all of this?
I think Ryan is the male version of me. He's literally saying things that I would say. It's the people, it's meeting the connections, seeing people. If it's not even just with me, it's watching two people connect that should be like talking or sharing each other's journey, or it's really the connections and not being alone, never alone. And I seriously, everything that Ryan just said, like from the quotes to just it doesn't feel like work. It fills my soul. It's not just seeing people get their lives back and stuff, but it's what it does for myself as well. And it just makes my pain into purpose, and I feel fulfilled, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Dude, I being sober for a long time, I went to meetings, and I went to the same meetings over and over for years and years and years, and I didn't know all the other pathways, and I didn't need to know all the other pathways. Frankly, I got sober, I was feeling good, and everything was good. And coming on here over the past year has just opened my mind so much, and not that I was closed-minded, or maybe I was. And, I think that's something that can happen with long-term recovery. You kind of get, in your groove, and this is my groove, and I'm going to stick here and stay here, and boom. And opening my mind to all the other programs, all the other forms of recovery, because there are 1,000 different pathways that lead to the same place. It doesn't matter what program you're working, as long as you're working something. And when Krista and I were at Founders Day, and I quote this guy frequently now because he was the final speaker, and he was talking about the big book, and he said this isn't the treasure. This isn't the treasure. He says, this is the map to the treasure. And oh man, it hit like a bolt of lightning, because it's it ultimately, all these different programs, most of them, they lead to finding a higher power of some sort, and finding that higher power, and the elimination of selfishness and the elimination of self-centeredness is so critical. And it's what differentiates us. The drinking and the drugs are but a symptom. It's my mind, it's the way I think. And these podcasts, these live streams, the tiki-takis, meeting people from all over the world where they're at, has opened my mind, opened my eyes to so many different things that we never could have before. And I think and see, I told you I had an answer when I asked the question.
Yeah.
Well, you should have the answer. You're making the questions up.
No, that's a great, well, very well said.
So so normally you are an interviewer. How do you like being an interviewee, not knowing what questions are coming at you?
Oh, it's really cool. I'm not used to doing it live like this because been on Hopeaholics, I've been on Kevin Lanning, and been interviewed by a couple of people remotely as well. And it's doing it live is definitely different because I have no plan. I don't have any notes next to me, and it's like what comes to my mind, and that's the best way to do it sometimes though, because it shows what's really going on in your head, and it's not scripted, and you get to know my real authentic thoughts about my recovery. And the fact that I had talked about earlier that recovery is not always easy, it's not always perfect, there are conflicts, there are things we have to resolve on a daily basis, and it's not always just rainbows and fluffy bunnies. So it's nice being live doing this, and being interviewed is really invigorating, and it just gives me a chance to forces me to be extra authentic and be myself. And even if I'm awkward for a couple seconds, I'm like, hey, at least it's me, because I'm awkward naturally anyways. I mean, I can act all cool on my own show, but I can edit that part out. But
you can edit
it. Yeah.
We embrace the awkward.
I like it. Really you guys ask good questions, and you both have just good personalities that bounce off each other. So I feel comfortable right off the bat. So.
Yeah. Very lucky. God put me with Krista, because we've been doing this for a while, and she gets surprised every time. That's my goal. And if she ain't crying, she's surprised.
Yeah. And Johnny, I'm gonna have you on the show at some point, right?
Yes. Yes. He has a great story.
I planned on asking you today and putting you on the spot. So.
Okay. So I guess I will say yes. Yes. All right. And I would love.
All right. See, my favorite part, connecting.
Johnny's rock bottom. Here we go.
Johnny's rock bottom, boy. Pack a lunch.
I think you're gonna love it, Ryan.
Pack a lunch, because I think it might have been 20 minutes ago.
Oh my word!
We all have different versions of rock bottom, so yeah.
We sure do, and sometimes there's a couple.
Yeah.
And on that note, that now that I've said something funny, that's when we have to end.
And on a positive note, for sure.
And we were in Akron, and we got there Thursday. We were going to be there till Sunday. We went to a clubhouse Thursday night and met this dude. And I said pretty much the funniest thing I've ever said in my entire life. I'll tell you this one off camera. And I told Krista, it was Thursday night. We weren't leaving till Sunday. I said, dude, I got to leave. This is the funniest thing I've said. I'm not going to say anything funnier than this. So this is it. This is it.
You reached your peak.
We did have a lot more laughs after that, but that was
we did. We most certainly did.
I need to hear this.
Ryan, thank you so much for being here with us today, dude. Thanks
sure everybody
follows Ryan. Go watch his podcast, Rock Bottom with Ryan. He's got a lot of them. He interviews a lot of people, so you're going to hear a lot of different stories. And you've been amazing, brother. And I got to thank you again for coming and sharing with us and being vulnerable.
And happy birthday.
Happy
birthday tomorrow, 39 years young. So grateful you can come here. Grateful for everyone in the comments and anybody who's watching. God loves you guys. So do we. Krista, you got any final comments?
This was just so good. You're such a great, bright spirit, and I can't wait to see what the future brings with our connection here.
I think,
and you guys better go watch his podcast, because he's really talented and editing and all that, and they're very interesting.
I appreciate that, and thank you so much for having me, and thanks to everybody that tuned in to hear me. And the fact that you said I'm so bright and all that, it's like I could not imagine even fitting those adjectives a couple of years ago. So that means a lot to hear. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in, and just getting to know you guys more has been a lot of fun. So I can't wait to do more with you guys.
So, my brother.
Yay. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.